Good evening. We'll call the Hawarden, Iowa City Council to order on Wednesday, May the 23rd, 2018 at 5:30 p.m. All present are council and staff other than Mr. Tom Kane. Tom's helping out doing some burgers up at the school tonight for the community. So we'll start again as we usually do with the number 1A, the approval of the May 9th, 2018 City Council meeting minutes. They've been in your packet. Is there a motion for approval?
So move.
Moved by John. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Jen. Further questions? Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor then of the May 9th, 2018 City Council meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. That passes 5-0. Next is approval of claims for tonight for May 23rd. We'll start to my right with Tim, please.
Yeah, the River's Edge Bank loan payments, $115,000. What was that for?
That's for a payment on West 10th Street. We have money borrowed through River's Edge to finance that.
Is that paid off now for the street down there?
No, and it's also for the community center and TIF aid industrial park. There's 3 payments on there.
The community center part, this would be the last payment for
Correct.
them.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks. Travis, questions?
None, thank you.
John?
None, thanks.
Jen?
None.
Okay, how about Rob?
None.
Hearing no further questions, is there a motion for approval of claims for payment?
So move.
Moved by Jen. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Tim. All in favor of the claims for payment, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, again passes 5-0. Hard to have open business from the community when there's no community here, so we'll just move on to the mayor's report. Not hard for that, he's here. So. This week of May 20th to the 26th is National EMS Week. We truly appreciate the dedicated people that make up the Hawarden EMS squad. The leaders and members of the Hawarden EMS are well trained and with their time and abilities allow our community to be well cared for when the need arises to call the ambulance. Our thanks goes out to those that serve us. This is also a time for families to check their homes and surroundings to make sure that they do not have any safety issues. You may wish to check your smoke detectors, kitchen areas, stairways, and any other areas of the house that may pose a risk. Memorial Day, which was first known as Decoration Day, originated following the Civil War and became official in 1971 as the last Monday of May. This day is to honor the men and women who have died while serving in the U.S. military. There is a national time of remembrance that takes place at 3 p.m. local time on Memorial Day. People are asked to take a time for silence or listen to taps during that time. Locally, we have a Memorial Day program at Grace Hill Cemetery on Memorial morning, and also the local American Legion are asking for assistance in putting up the flags at the cemetery. We continue our efforts in property maintenance here in our community. I thank our police department members for their efforts in getting areas cleaned up. We, as members of the community of Hawarden, need to continue to build our pride in our community and work to fix up and maintain our personal and business properties. As we look around, some areas have been neglected for many years and some months. We will continue to ask, enforce, and work with everyone to get the areas cleaned up. With the better weather now, there are many opportunities for family activities. Please enjoy our parks, our recreation trails, or taking a baseball or softball game at West Sioux. We look forward to the hospital thrift store opening back up again and thank all of those that worked there with that project. And last week we celebrated the ribbon cutting at the Hawarden Regional Health Care. This has been a wonderful project for our community, and we congratulate and thank Jason Pullman, the board members, and the staff for their commitment for quality medical care for us and those living in the surrounding area. Today we received a thank you from the Hawarden Regional Health Care directed to the Hawarden Police Department. It says, thank you for taking the time to be a part of the kindergarten tours on May 10 and 11. Your support of the hospital is greatly appreciated. Thank you, Jessica Minen. So thanks to the police department, always thanks to EMS and the fire squad and all of those entities from that are part of our city that participate in a lot of public service types of things. Are there any council comments this evening?
After going down to Des Moines a couple of weeks ago with some of the other council members, a lot of the focus was on economic development or community development, and I would just like to see a discussion start to happen. I know some of us have had a conversation as to whether or not we want to look at an economic development or community development position and what that might look like, so I don't know if that can be added to the agenda for an upcoming meeting shortly.
It certainly can. Mike and I have been discussing, and I think Mike will put in his report tonight that we're looking at if everyone's available to have a planning session for quite a number of different other projects that Mike and I have been discussing and council members have been discussing, if that would be a part
Yep.
of that, if that would be okay with you.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else from council?
Yeah, actually, after last meeting, when we had the young guy talk about the speed limit on, what is it, 16th?
16th? Mm-hmm.
And it really, I mean, 25 is pretty slow. I mean, I went on it just to see what it was like. And I don't think anybody drives 25 on it. I mean, maybe that's okay then if we just allow everybody to go 35 if you say it's 25, but it seems like when you have all the other streets that are congested or bad viewing and stuff, but that, we could maybe change that or address it at some future meeting when you talk about other speed limit areas and stuff. But
I gave that some thought too, but I was kind of under the assumption, or not the assumption, but the thought that we need to keep it the same, because after we did that street project and did not include a sidewalk for safety walking, if you go past there on times like, I get done with the basketball game or whatever, and I'm heading back home and it's dark, quite a number of people unfortunately have to walk on the street. But we can certainly have further discussion if you'd like to.
I'm just saying that nobody drives 25 on that, so that's all I'm saying.
Somewhat, as Corey pointed out,
Yeah.
that if you
Maybe
give it to
that's
35, then nobody
35,
drives
then maybe
35, now you're going
45.
40.
It was quite amazing today. We sat there for about 2 hours on 16th Street across from French Park, and majority of the people, as they were coming down the hill, were right at 28 miles an hour. Once they saw me, they would go down to about 24. But I had one person within that time frame that was actually speeding at about 42 miles an hour. I'm afraid that if we raise it any higher, you're going to get those people that are going 35, now they're going 45. And with the park right there, it's just not, I don't think it's safe, and I think you have to weigh the risk versus, the
Well, I'm
liability.
not saying to have a sign, watch for children or something by parks and stuff, but 25 is pretty slow enough. But that's just, I like to drive fast, so what can I say?
Germany.
Did you 42? Was you-
No,
you
he was
talking
not,
about-
he was not the 42. No.
I just missed it.
Along that, I've seen that you've had the radar out also a little bit.
Yeah, we had the speed trailer out there for about a day just to, create some more awareness on it, so people were aware when they drive up and down. It is a well-used thoroughfare, not only by drivers, but if you sit there and take the time to watch the kids that coming out of that French Park, the drivers can pay attention to the kids don't always pay attention to the drivers. I've seen kids as small as 3 and 4 years old crossing the street there, and I'm just, any higher speed, I'd be really concerned with it.
And before I ask you for any other report, and we'll start with you, give me an overview of, and I think I forget about that speed radar. Does it track things too for you? Can you give
Yes, it
reports
does.
off of that?
You can hook it up and actually get statistics and see, how fast different people are going, different times of the day, and plug it in. And we're planning on doing one on 16th Street and one on L as well, because we've been having some people talking about L Avenue as being something where people go more than 25, so.
And I know our business is right on Highway 10, and I know it's a big hill, and I know trucks take a while to get stopped, but it's amazing to me, as we talk with like Charlie on the corner and things, how many trucks even miss the stop sign on Central Avenue.
Yeah, we did another short project today, right, even at Highway 10 and 12 right there by Casey's, and out of 100 vehicles, I think there was 46 of them that didn't properly stop. Just to get a number in our head to have heightened traffic control in there and have people enforce it and, create some more community awareness, so we're just a little bit better drivers. We want to keep everybody safe.
And do you want to just continue with the report? I'll quit asking questions.
Sure. No, it was kind of a nice segue into it. Basically, with the nicer weather coming up, I noticed I was sitting outside in my deck the other night, and I heard a lot of people leaving the baseball game and some squealing of tires and stuff like that. So it's nice out. That means not only are you able to get out in your vehicle and drive, but the kids are out. And people out walking, like you said, you drive around town, you see people walking up and down the streets because there are no sidewalks in some of those places. And we're kind of rallying around trying to find different statistical areas where we need to have a heightened enforcement and just be out there more so the public can see us, to get people to kind of remember that we are out there and to abide by the laws. So we're really working on traffic here this month.
Thanks. Jim, anything? No. Point of view? Pam?
I've just been working with data tech and getting all of our information into the software so we can have better reports and better information for our auditors in a few months. So I've been training on that, and that's been going pretty darn good.
Then you're finding them pretty helpful in that regard?
Very helpful,
Okay.
yeah.
Till people interrupt, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry about that today.
that's quite all right.
Just seeing if she was awake at 3 o'clock, and she was, so. Mike?
If you've been down the tree pile, you notice that we still have a rather large pile of junk there from cleanup days. We've been in contact with Independence Waste. Their driver that had been hauling the roll-off dumpsters has left their employment. They're trying to get another one. We did speak with them about the importance of getting that cleaned up, because as the longer it sits there, the more stuff piles up, and then the rain gets in, there's a lot of furniture and stuff, which all of that is tonnage. And so they promised me that they were going to start working harder at getting somebody over there to do it, so we'll keep monitoring that. The swimming pool plans to open sometime in the first full week of June 4th or shortly thereafter. So there's 4, I think, that are in the lifeguard class right now, so hoping they pass. If they do, we should be okay with lifeguards. So we're just hoping that goes well. Summer rec staff's been hired, sheets have gone out, people have signed up, so that'll be starting shortly after school gets out. And then I'm wondering if everybody's going to be here at the June 13th meeting, or does anybody know now if they'll be gone? What I'd like to do, the reason I'd like to see if we can get a planning session together after the meeting. It's a non-recorded planning session. It still is open to the public. It'll still be posted that we'll be having a planning session, but to talk about certain things like Main Street, like the Economic or Community Development Director, and some of the other things that for staff to get direction on how we want to prioritize things and where we want to go or what we want to see for the future of the community. And then ultimately, I would like to see a community-wide meeting, maybe sometime this fall, and maybe have an outside source come in and guide us through that process. So if everybody's going to be here, we'll probably put it on the next meeting. Tim's got to be out of here by midnight or 10, one of the two, so we'll keep it under that. So.
Well, that's
There we
if
go.
you want me to be awake. You can keep going after 10.
Of course we want you awake.
Just a motion, or just another comment about the tree pile. I have a lot of opportunity to bring my grass waste down there, and just again the other day, it's, there's a storm door in there, and that's got glass in it, and then there's some, people that thrown, some, plastic toys away, and obviously that's that's not the spot for that.
No, that's not the spot, and, you know, that continues to be a problem. We do try and monitor it, you know, but it takes 2 seconds for somebody to throw that stuff in there, and, you know, we're always in danger, of course, of losing the company that comes in and grinds our trees up and takes them out. And if that happens, our other alternative is to burn them, and we have found out through past experience that that just creates a horrible mess. So, you know, we would just like the public to be aware that that is for trees and wood products. I mean, pallets can go in there, wood products can go in there, but metals, glass, plastics, that can't go in there. And on that same line, I went and dumped my grass down on the grass pile last night, and there was flower pots and all kinds of garbage that just get thrown out there along with the grass, and that's not the proper place for that either. There again, we have somebody that comes in, they load that stuff and they haul it out and spread it on their field, and we've had rocks and bricks and stuff in it as well, and it just breaks his equipment. And if we lose that, there again, you know, it could all lead to just shutting that down altogether and not having a place for the public to go. It's very convenient, it's very nice, and we need people to respect that spot for, you know, for the future.
Questions of staff from council members?
Congrats on being a grandpa again, by the way.
So, thank you.
Do you want to give the report?
It was a baby girl, born a little bit after noon today. So, Haley Josephine and mom and baby are doing well, so.
Grandpa and Grandma are ecstatic. Good, thanks. Move on to other agenda items. Jason, our quarterly hospital update, please.
Thank you. Obviously, we had the open house, and that was a great success. We had about 160 to 170 people there, and we got to unveil the donor board, and that was a great opportunity to celebrate with the people that donated large sums of money for our organization. We're constantly looking with radiology department, trying to do more and more services, and also working with a different radiology group. We were with Sanford, and then now we're with AMI, which is out of Nebraska, and we're starting to do some diagnostic ultrasounds, which is, we did the first one last week, which is, again, another service that we can provide, so that's a great thing. Senior Life Solution is going well. We have about 9 to 10 individuals that participate in that program. We're kind of in the thick of our budget cycle right now. We meet with managers to talk about their departments and their needs and their to run their department, and of course capital always is the tough one to manage, but so we're in the process of that. And then we have strategic planning that's scheduled for August 28th at the library, and so we're bringing in an outside source to help us look at what focus we should be doing for the next 3 to 5 to 10 years. We say we need to really look at 10 years out, especially in our organization, because as we talk about economic development, we need to realize what our next population is going to be looking for health care. And is that telemedicine? Is that teledoc? Is that what will the younger population want to stay here locally into our health care? And I think it's really wise for us to look 10 years out instead of only looking 3. I think the building project is done. It's a great success, but we really need to look at 10 years to decide, you know, how are the younger population going to use us, and that's going to be some of our strategy also. And then also, there's people that we don't serve, and we want to know why. And so we're really going to try to go into what are some things that we can do to reach out to people in our own community to get them to come to our facility. So we're doing some strategic planning, which is always fun, and that's a really great opportunity for us to look at our future facility.
I've just had an opportunity the last week or so to talk to just a few folks that have unfortunately had to be hospitalized or ER'd, and nothing but praise for the staff and the facility, and how, one person had to get transferred out due to the health problem, and how nice it was. How things are so helpful, and like you said, the telecommunication stuff with, the bigger hospitals in Sioux Falls and all that type of thing, it's just fabulous to have right here, so.
Yeah, it turned out better than I anticipated, so it's really a great facility. The staff are wonderful. I've worked in a variety of different facilities, and I'd have to say that the staff here in Hawarden are top-notch and care about what they do.
They truly do. Thoughts or questions for Jason while he's with us? Great, thanks again for being with us tonight.
You bet.
Appreciate
Thank you for
that.
having me.
That moves us to the agenda item number 4, which would be the public hearing on vacating the alley and authorizing the final disposition of real estate to John Coyle. At this time, I will open the public hearing. Comments about this project? Anything that's been emailed or sent to the offices?
We've received no comments on this.
Council have any comments, or Jim legally for comments in the public hearing? Nope. I think it's,
I think we should address the 42 cents. Is time to go up a little bit on the square footage price, or?
We can take we can take a look
Just
at that
wondering
at
if
some
that-
point.
It's been that for quite a while. It seems like maybe it might be reasonable to go up. I mean, I know we're not making big bucks on it, so it's not, but.
Right, Jim and I have been talking about, and it's kind of been,
Now, we can look at it. Raw land hasn't really been a moving item in Hawarden, but, a lot of the, if you take the assessor's values on a lot of the lots in town, and they're $2,500, and if you divide it out, we're actually, I think, probably higher than most of them. But, yeah, we could sure have.
Well,
We can look at a few
different
of
real
them.
estate people have always complained that we're giving away stuff.
yeah. We can take a look at some of the prices of some of the residential lots and the assessed value and the square footage and divide it out and just kind of get an average and see where we're at.
Whatever.
okay. Any other comments for the public hearing? I'd just like to thank Mr. Coyle for making improvements on his property during the public hearing. We will close that, which then moves us to Resolution 2018-17, vacating the alley and authorizing the final disposition of the real estate.
So moved.
There's been a motion by Travis. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by John. Questions or clarifications for this resolution? A roll call vote, please, for Resolution 2018-17.
Clucky,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Kurth,
Aye.
Feldhacker,
Aye.
Bergsma.
Aye.
On a 5-0 roll call vote, Resolution 2008-17 passes, excuse me. Public hearing for fiscal year 2017-2018 budget amendment. I will open the public hearing. Maybe just get again some clarification from our city administrator in regards, as we're in the public hearing, why it's necessary for the budget amendment.
Every year when we make out our budget and we pass it, we're making it out 6 to 7 months ahead of time. In those, what we're doing is projecting what it's going to be in the next fiscal year. When you make out a budget, it's our best guess is what it's going to be. Every year there's things that come up, there's revenues that come in, there's expenses that go out when you finally get into that budget that you have to then do a budget amendment on. That's why the state allows budget amendments, is because of the unforeseen things. So in this one, there were some revenues that came in, and those are from selling more gas than what we had planned on. And then there's expenses that comes with buying more gas that we had planned on. There's expenses unforeseen that we do, like milling down the alleys. That's in this budget amendment. That was $63,000 that we did not budget for previously because it came up as an item. The $50,000 donation to Sioux County Conservation was not a budgeted item. They were all committed and passed by the council, but they weren't necessarily budgeted for in that 6 to 7 months prior to that budget year. Our transfers in, we have TIF transfers that go in, they go to different departments and go out. Those have to be in a budget amendment every year. There's a grant for the AED for the ambulance. The money was there to cover it as it came in from the Hemsley Foundation and went out, so we have to budget the revenues, or do an amendment on the revenues and the expenses on that. It's very common that there are budget amendments. It's very common. We've done it as long as I've been within the city. And what people don't understand is, even though some of those amounts seem large, we also have the hospital in our budget, even though we have no control over their budget. So then we have to do an amendment, get what their updated expenses are, and do amendments on that. So it's within line of other years we've done. It just is, it's kind of truing up the budget that we're just getting done with.
Were there any public comments in regards to the budget amendment that were sent to the city that need to be addressed?
None.
Okay. Council have any comments on the budget amendment? I'll close the public hearing. Thank you for that input, which moves us to Resolution 2018-18, approval of the fiscal year 2017-18 budget amendment. Is there a motion for that resolution?
So moved.
Moved by Tim. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Rob. Further questions, clarifications? Hearing none, a roll call vote then for Resolution 2018-18.
Feldhacker,
Aye.
Kurth.
Aye.
Bergsma,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Clucky,
Aye.
On a 5-0 roll call vote, Resolution 2018-18 passes. Agenda item number 6, approval of the D.A. Davidson Municipal Advisor Services Agreement for the wastewater project. They need to get the address correct, at least on the heading, when they do further comments to us. Give us an overview, please, of why we would use D.A. Davidson for a municipal advisor in this project.
First of all, the reason we need the municipal advisor is that the USDA and the revolving loan fund requires we have a municipal advisor. It's kind of like a city financial advisor, so that they can go through our finances, make sure that we're able to repay the loan back to the revolving loan fund. It's a newer requirement on that. D.A. Davidson we used in our electric fund when we did our electric project. What they'll also do is they'll look at our rates, and then they will tell us what our rates need to be to create enough revenue to make the payments on that. So it's $8,000. I do apologize for the city of Lehigh being on there, but I didn't write it. But $4,000 of that is given back as far as a grant from the revolving loan fund once the loan closes. So it's another step we have to do. D.A. Davidson has worked with us in the past. Currently they're working with us with our electric project, and there's follow-ups they have to do every year that we've been working with them. So there's kind of a familiarity. There are other companies that do it, but I got the quote from them based upon them just being familiar with us. And
Okay. Questions from council about the municipal advisor services agreement?
So moved.
No questions. Motion by Travis. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by John. All in favor then of the approval of the D.A. Davidson Municipal Advisor Services Agreement for the wastewater project, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes 5-0. Consent agenda for June the 2nd, liquor license transfer from Sportsman's to the Hawarden Community Center. Motion for the consent agenda.
So move.
Moved by John. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Jen. All in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Nobody opposes. That passes 5-0. Agenda item number 8, we would like to go into closed session pursuant to Iowa Code Section 388.9 to discuss marketing and pricing strategies and proprietary information where the competitive position would be harmed by public disclosures not required of competitors and no public purpose is served by disclosure. I'd entertain a motion to go into closed session. Moved by Jen. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by John. Call for a roll call vote then to go into closed session at this time.
Olson,
Aye.
Clucky, Feldhacker,
Aye.
Bergsma,
Aye.
Kurth.
On a 5-0 roll call vote, Hawarden City Council will go into closed session at 6:01 PM, which will be taped separately.